to Alienware Enter the Storm Qualifier Cup number 5. And we are down to the top 4, Mr. Shamty. It's been a heck of a journey today.
It has been. We've been seeing some really, really back and forth games, some games that are not so back and forth, but now I think we're starting to get into the teams that are going to be super, super exciting, and I'm super excited to get to this point.
So we have seen both these teams as we go into our semifinals of the True Team Fancy. I had to look it up, but I got it. I got it, guys. The True Team Fancy will be taking on Do Your Best, and both teams have absolutely smashed their opponents in all the games that we have seen today. And every game has actually been on Sky Temple. So could we see a Sky Temple? I'd say evidence says strongly yes. And with both these teams going head-to-head, who actually come out on top of that one? Because it's really hard to call now that we've seen both of these guys in action.
Yeah, True Team Fancy destroyed their opponents, dismantled their opponents, and, you know, no offense to their opponents, but that was more just a testament to True Team Fancy. Really, really good team. Do Your Best. A little bit of a more back and forth, but as soon as, you know, they hit that level 10, apparently, is when Do Your Best really hits their stride and they do their best. And we saw last game, it was 16-13 in the levels. So I'm really excited to see both of these teams. We're going to be going actually to Blackheart's Bay.
Imagine that. Who actually banned out Sky Temple, I wonder?
That's my question.
Yeah, we can't actually see like the map bans unless you're right there. So that's something I've put in with the engineers in terms of like, you got a lot of slots there, guys. Show us those bans. Either way. So Blackheart's Bay, not something we see a ton of, but if I had to take a guess, I'd say that, you know, go for a bit more longevity, a little bit more solid team comps rather than bigger bursts, because that way you can survive the teams, the team fights at least, and then you can start turning in the coins and just letting Blackheart do your dirty work. But first pick was Do Your Best. They banned out the Zeratul. On the flip side, the Illidan is now out, and now we got some lovely ladies, Sham.
Yeah, and Sylvanas and Jaina, these actually are going to emphasize another really interesting point about Blackheart's Bay. Ooh, and
fancy.
The Lost Vikings.
That's nice. An early pick.
That is a very early pick. Actually, I'm surprised it wasn't a first pick. I'm sure both these teams were like, Vikings probably banned out. We probably did. Oh, right, they're not banned out. Damn.
But this is Blackheart's Bay. It's not, you know, there's a big disparity between the mid and the bottom.
Still pretty good pick up here on Blackheart's Bay to have those Vikings, because not only can they triple lane soak while the rest of your team goes around and picks up mercenary camps, but also they're really good at being able to pressure down bot lane, or if there's a huge push bot lane, they pressure that top and mid. So they actually are really good at being able to split up this whole entire map perfectly. So it's actually really, I think they're a really good pickup here. And that's one of the things I want to talk about is just mercenary camps. It's a huge point of this map. It's a PvE element, you know, player versus environment, that if you get ahead, you just have to get a whole bunch of camps. And picking up Sylvanas, Jaina, Fala, all these heroes, very, very good. Lost Vikings as well. Very good at picking up those mercenary camps.
Now, at the same time, Jaina, perhaps not as adept, but she can still definitely throw down a lot of contributions in team fights, clearing creep waves, getting those chests, getting those mercs. At the same time, though, I mean, we got Vala Uther now to go with that, so Uther is definitely going to be a really key part of keeping the team alive here with those, with the heals, the Divine Shield. We haven't seen a Storm all day, and at the same time, you know, you kill him off Flash of Lights. It's going to be huge for a lot of these team fights, especially when it comes to the throw pit. So we'll have to see, you know, what kind of things we're going to see at the bosses. But Team Fancy immediately with the double Diablo Zagara, they didn't really take any time to choose that.
No, they really didn't. And I think that's actually a pretty nice pickup for them. Having that Diablo and the Zagara, APOC coming out of the maw is going to be so crucial. So nice to be able to set up so many other things, especially if you get like those Lost Vikings sitting right outside the maw and they get that spin to win, that triple spin to win. Such a nice bit of AoE damage. Does a lot of work. So I'm really excited to see Team Fancy's composition so far. But Do Your Best playing a very, very solid composition so far. And I'm curious to see who they're going to be picking up as their warrior. Probably an ETC. Use that stage dive. Get a little bit of that split pushing going on here.
You think it would be the ETC for the global? We have seen a mosh pit today.
We did see a mosh pit today, but I don't know if I really trust that as a very legitimate pick here, because that was also the game where it was like 13-9.
Yeah. Well, there's a Kerrigan. So now, as a warrior, I was going to say Mirrodin, but they're actually going to go with the Nubarak here for, again, great team fight presence. He has a lot of stuns now available to him.
Mhm.
And as you were saying that, I looked at it, ETC with a mosh pit, ETC even with a stage dive, like there's just way too many ways to defeat him with the, Maw, Apocalypse, Silence Arrow. So I absolutely take that back. Screw the mosh pit. No concerts today. But still, with that front line, this is for sure going to be a Divine Shield combo, web wrap to try to take out somebody out of this, and then just let Kerrigan do her thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be a great emphasis point around here for that Uther. He can put a Divine Shield on whoever's getting dove on, or on that Kerrigan. Kerrigan can jump on straight into the middle of the enemy team. She starts taking too much damage through her Maelstrom shield, and she's going to get immediately Divine Shielded and be able to stay alive and still do a lot of damage, do a lot of work in the back line. And that's what I'm going to be very curious about, because they don't really have the most resilient composition in that back line. I mean, they've got the Sylvanas and the Zagara. They don't really have great ways to escape, and especially if you stun out that Sylvanas in the middle of her Banshee, she's not going to be able to get at anywhere. And now they pick up the Brightwing as well, and that's a very nice pickup for the support, but still, it's a scary spot because Brightwing doesn't heal as much. They got to go for that Emerald win to get the disengage on the Kerrigan.
Well, the disengage is definitely going to be huge, but at the same time, web wrap, man. You can't cleanse a web wrap. You have to turn and fight it. So if they get that Brightwing out of the way, they get that Zagara out of the way, I mean, that is going to be a huge amount of control now lost in a lot of these team fights.
That's true. That's very true. And so it's going to be a really nice back and forth between both these teams in the team fight and also in the mercenary camp realm as well. Both these teams have pretty good mercenary camp builds. Anubrak probably going to be going for those beetles. Vala and Kerrigan. Well, Kerrigan's okay, but Jaina and Kerrigan can pair up and just kind of melt a camp really, really quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Kerrigan with the assimilation just by itself will mitigate a lot of that damage. Now, something that we don't really have a huge amount of in spades this round is heals. We do only have the one support on each side. There's no Tyrandas, no Tassadars, no bruiser or flex heavy kind of champions. And we haven't really seen big flex compositions. We did see a Tyrande Diablo earlier, and that is about it. 1 for 4 of our games today.
Yeah, that's very true. You bring up the point of healing, and I think that's just something that's kind of slightly fallen out of the meta, even though there really haven't been a ton of changes to the double healer meta, except for the Uther massive changes. It's just double healers kind of starting to fall a little bit out of phase here, we're noticing in this tournament.
Well, I feel like North America, our side of the pond, is still very much in a flex phase. It does look like EU is kind of moving out of it a little bit more push heavy, a little bit more comp heavy in terms of assassins and damage and structure damage and all that. China, for example, is still very much in love with the double tank strategies.
It's true, and oh man, I just can't wait for the first time we get a massive LAN tournament to go down, because I want to see like all these strategies just kind of go head to head against each other.
Who knows, man?
But we'll see.
Sun's around the corner.
We'll see.
And hold out hope.
Whenever that may or may not happen with that WCA, I guess. But let's talk a little bit about both these teams. I mean, we were saying before, do your best coming through this bracket. A little bit more of a struggle than what we've seen from Team True Fancy, and that's where I think Team True Fancy's got a little bit better of a composition for this map.
Well, their soaking and PvE potential is definitely, I feel, higher, but the kill potential from do your best. I mean, it's a very controlling comp. You got a lot of slows, stuns, and a web wrap, which you remove a lot of people out of this fight. So they have a big control kind of comp. You lead in with the new Barak, you jump him with the stun combo into Kerrigan. You got another stun on Uther, and on the back of that, you could even add a Rain of Vengeance. You got blizzards, water elementals. Everything is adding a lot of slow as soft CC to this equation as well. Team Fancy could be in trouble if they get picked off with a roaming Kerrigan.
Yeah, and that's, that is always that looming threat, especially with Kerrigan and Jaina, because as soon as that the grasp into spines comes out, then Jaina can easily lead up into a blizzard, and that's where it gets a little bit scary. But that's, where we get into that little bit of back and forth here. Both these teams have their advantages. Can they press those advantages? Can they really emphasize those advantages in order to take away their own disadvantages, or just overpower them in general? Haha, Diablo pun. So let's look into this. But I did just get a news update. Fnatic lost.
Really?
On the other end of the bracket, Fnatic went down
Who did they lose to?
To Under
You go.
Construction, yeah.
Under Construction. All right. Okay, guy, I'm not going to say these names. Zrokowani, Fishu, Kreku. Okay, must be Russian team. No, that's not Russian. That's Polish. All right. I'm actually surprised that they're able to take down Shinobu and crew.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised by that as well. Look at that really nice little like international roster coming out there. Yeah, I'm pretty surprised as well, but I'm pretty impressed.
Jaina, Diablo, Zagara, Tyrande, Malfurion. Holy, that is quite the comp. Yeah, I guess that was enough control. I mean, they had. Well, all right, it doesn't matter. They won. Good job. Congratulations. Under Construction will take on next, as we're about to take on Do Your Best up against the True Team Fancy, and it is now underway, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to our favorite man in the hat, Blackhearts Bay. Best of one, man. It's still best of one.
Yeah, it is still best of one, so you got to be a little bit scared here. The coin could easily flip at any point, and one team could get that advantage and win here, and that's where it's going to be a little bit scary for Blackhearts Bay to be your map to really decide whether or not you're going to be able to qualify for the Enter the Storm tournament, sponsored by Alienware. $5,000 is up every single match getting up to that point.
Man, oh man, $5,000. That is that has a nice ring to it, doesn't it?
It does. I mean, $5,000, that's a lot of pizza.
A lot of pizza indeed, sir. All right, so once more to the left-hand side, Do Your Best. Going to be represented by Fabio, Bobic, Fierret. In the mid is going to be Star Zerg, Dancing Up a Storm, and Cellarat to go into the top.
And over here on the right-hand side, in the red trunks, it is our friends Crosby playing Zagara, Blumby playing Diablo. We've got the Brightwing being played by Tung Jae. We've got this nice little Sylvanas Darkmok hanging out here on the Billy Goat. And in the bot lane, we've got Deviz on the Lost Vikings. They round out the team. Team True Fancy.
Now, we see some interesting strategies every now and then in terms of like, how do you open up on Blackheart space? Some people die for Watchtower, some people go for a bottom lane gank. I've never seen a top gank, especially with 4 of them. I mean, Brightwing can easily just kind of go wherever she wants with that phase, but this is like more what I would expect. Do Your Best has 3 into the bottom. They're looking for a big pickup here. I'm not entirely too sure they'll get it, but the Vikings don't have any jump as of yet, and that is a Kerrigan, and they will find an Eric.
Yeah, meanwhile, I mean, there's not really a ton of victory for either team here. Neither of them really got killed here. Both of them went for something, but nothing really happened. But this is going to let both these teams kind of pick up these chests as the 50-second mark has hit for both these teams. And, well, actually for the entire match. And 50 seconds means chest spawns up, Blackhearts puts down his little chest, and everybody's just going to pick up their 5 coins.
Yeah, and you know, again, both teams really showing a very different level 1 strategy because we have so much emphasis on the top here from the True Team Fancy, but almost none from Do Your Best because they have been really heavily harassing out the Vikings, keeping them in check. You can see Fierret even just pushing them back even more. But now we're going to see the comp of the roam. We got the Anubarak, we got the Kerrigan. Will it be early Mercs? Will it be an early kill? Diablo's looking good. They're in the mid, but we got heavy pressure top, and it looks like that's where they're going to come for a return. So, you know, Fabio, Starzerg, Bobic, they actually are going to come up here. They do a really good CC chain. They will get their kill on top of Sylvanas, but Kerrigan is going to be the trade out there. 1 for 1 as they come back and forth into that. Crosby and crew continually just battering out this gate, and the gate is actually even going to fall. At the same time, Ferret in the bottom, trading out a Viking for just a little bit of her health pool. But going back and forth, not really huge advantages either way. It is about level 4 to almost 4, and we have dunked 5 coins from Do Your Best. They have actually banked that so far. So Blackheart leaning towards them a little bit. But now again, Bobic and Fabio, what can they do? This isn't a really superb map for roaming. So they are going to get some of these early mercs. Maybe they're going to leverage this to take some pressure off top, and then they'll go into the mid, look for that. Maybe they'll come back into the bottom to the Vikings. But the sooner we get to 7, the sooner we're going to get to jump. And that's going to make that really hard for a combo.
Yeah, that's going to be one of those great points for just having those Vikings be able to just run around and be that huge harassment potential, especially when they get that boat at level 10. They just jump into the back line. They do a ton of damage to some of the carries. As soon as anybody takes a look at the Vikings, they turn into a boat, which is still a weird thing, a weird sentence that I never expected to have to say, that a bunch of people turn into a boat. But that's exactly what they do. They turn into that awesome longboat raid, and they're just able to do so much damage. So Vana's now coming in here, starting to push down these towers. If they take out one of these towers before they actually turn in, that's going to be a free fort as well.
Oh, at this point, it's a free fort anyways. I mean, the amount of damage that they've done, it might not be an entire tower, but bringing both of them to half is almost guaranteed enough cannonballs now in the bank to keep that fort going. But in terms of the coins, we actually did just dunk down 7. Blumby has done some rotation. And at the same time, Deviz was just coming up just to make sure that he was able to get that. They're actually now going to wait. Fabio does have 4. Bobik does have 2, but still, I think it was caught out. There was enough movement onto this bottom bridge area that Fabio and Bobik are just going to ignore the Lord of Terror and instead look for that kill on top of Dark Fog. But now, I don't know. They could posture. I don't think Diablo could successfully survive against this CC comp.
I don't think so either. I mean, he's a really tanky warrior, but he's not that tanky. He does have level 7 over his opponents, though. Level 7 still hasn't been grabbed here by Do Your Best, so they have to be a little bit careful while they wait for that soak. Spirit now getting really low, but Deviz gonna take a whole bunch of damage. Olaf gonna go down here, now trying to escape with Balog. It looks like Spirit is gonna be the next one to fall here. Fabio now doesn't have an escape because it is Kerrigan, but he's gonna overpower on, oh my god, Fabio's so low, gonna shadow charge on in, but he's not gonna be able to get out of here. The Roach is trying to soak up damage, but it's not gonna be successful. He's gonna go down. Not a huge coin advantage now for Team True Fancy.
So we've seen, it kind of feels always weird to see Diablo just kind of ignoring obstacles, like ignoring terrain just to shadow charge through things. But he charged right through the gate, got the kill on top of Kerrigan. And Kerrigan, if she had to die, I'm happy that's behind her gate because she had 4 coins. Those are very important coins at this stage of the game. And if they'd given that up to the opponents, that was almost for sure going to be, a 2-1, well, 2 1/4, I guess, because they actually lost out of Viking instead of anybody else random. And that would have been a turn-in for the Blackhearts. So I'm actually, happy that they were able to kind of keep him. But now Bobik with 6 coins. I mean, he's got to be very careful when he comes to these ganks because he's a high-priority target.
Yeah, he definitely can't be using that burrow charge to start up a team fight, which is like kind of one of those things that everybody loves to do as an Anubarak. But as that's happening, Fabio taking a lot of damage, but he's going to be able to get out of there just barely. And the rest of Team Do Your Best is now backed up behind the enemy, behind their own gates, trying to hold off this massive onslaught of bruisers. They're definitely getting bruised up. Darkmock taking a lot of damage. There's that Blizzard chain. CC's stun, but not going to be enough to get back out. They do lose 4 coins. They're going to pick up a good amount of them. There's still 1 out on the map, but Do Your Best very, very low. They don't have level 10 either. They have to be so scared. Blumby looks like he's going for the shadow charge. Not going to be able to do it though. And still, level 10 just on the cusp, but not quite there. They are so scared. They can't push out at all.
This is going to be a Devouring Maw into an Apocalypse wombo combo to go with that. A Wailing Arrow and an Emerald Wind just to try to keep these guys at bay. Vala, where was Vala? I think she chased... Oh, the Vikings chased her down. She didn't chase down the Vikings. The Vikings chased her down. Yeah, they used the boat. That's how that happened. All right, so Vala, I mean, she did get an Olaf kill during that entire thing, and as we can see now, we do have that first turn in. This is going to be the first fort of the game going the way of the True Team Fancy, but Vala losing out in this mid as well. That's a huge amount of experience now lost. And you can see about a level between these teams now. True Team Fancy have been soaking out those other lanes while we have been pushing down the bottom. And I gotta say, once you get some Mercs pushing with a Zagara, with a Sylvanas, those structures just do not last.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be the really scary point here is you got that Sylvanas. You've got these massive amount of advantages as soon as you get any type of mercenary camp. And then you have Blackhearts to really just kind of pair that all up. If they get another turn in, that fort top lane is going to go down immediately. That fort bot lane is now also going to be a huge issue as well. So that's another turn in, and that top fort gone. That's forfeit. That's completely gone.
Now, Do Your Best. They're, yeah, as you said, that fort is gone. In fact, bottom fort could actually be gone as well. They've been in this position before. This is about where they start powering up.
Exactly. This is exactly when they start getting into that position, and that's why I really want to bring that up constantly when I'm talking about this team, because we've seen them be behind by so much twice now.
Oh, that Maw. that predictive claw, but it didn't hit anything. So that is a huge now tool gone from this team fight. The strafe is good. They trade out the Brightwing and the Sylvanas for the Vala. That's a great 2-for-1 trade, 3-for-1 on the back with that dunk on top of Cesara there as well. Bobic with 13 coins, 4 there for Fabio, 2 for Celerat. They turned the tides on this push. Yeah, they lost out the fort, and now we got some big Siege Giants pushing down the bottom. But at the same time, they got the top pressure going in. You see the Vikings, they got to deal with that, and now their own turn-in. It's almost like we just said something about them powering up. And here they are, bringing back kills and their own pressure to the table.
Yeah, they're sitting in a really good spot here, and this is exactly where they want to be. They want to turn this whole entire game around. They're about to hit level 13 as well, and this is when they make their stride. This is when they start getting into that position to take this game back. And they get that nice turn in. They're not going to get a fort out of this, though. I don't think. No, they're not.
Davies looking at the boss, thinking about it. Doesn't do it, but he thought about it. You could see those gears turning. Level 13 for both sides, sir. What do we actually see? Double sprint, Jaina and Kerrigan actually rocking double sprint and double envenom, would you believe? You got that cleanse and that shield. The shield is absolutely huge. As soon as you see a Kerrigan, you can almost assume it's going to be that divine shield. But look at the 13. Burning Rage for our Nubarak, but he didn't actually go for the web grab. He did go for the Locust Swarm. So Locust Swarm will keep him in and amongst those fights, and the Burning Rage is going to add up so much damage over time.
Yeah, he is. Sorry, I'm just working a little bit with a couple of other things.
Not a problem.
Clean feed, but the boss being grabbed here as well. You know what? They see that their enemy team is starting to get a little bit of a comeback here, and they say, you know what? We're going to make sure that they're going to have to start dealing with far too many decisions at once. Fabio getting the Divine Shield now going on in, doing a lot of damage to Crosby. He's taking too many hits. He's going to go down here. Apocalypse hitting a good amount of targets. The boat is going to go down here. Blumby is trying to just disrupt as much as possible, but Fabio is doing a good amount of work, but is he going to go down? There's the user heal at the last second. Skalarat versus Fabio, and Fabio are trying to keep everything alive. Now Stars are coming in at the last second, going to pick up Darkmock, and the only people alive right now are Deviz and Blumby all the way back, or Blumby all the way back here because he had enough souls. So what looked like was actually starting to be a pretty bad engagement there for the very beginning of Do Your Best actually turned completely around for the Still.
Yeah, the boss was doing damage on the back of that. We also got these bruisers. So, I mean, these survivors are going to have their work cut out for them from Do Your Best. They are going to be forced to kind of camp out this top. The problem is that there's really no coins left in the game. Deviz is really the only one here from the True Team Fantasy that actually lived, and he got 4 coins there on the Olaf. It was 4.5 to a 3 trade. Definitely a better trade for Do Your Best. And I think a big part of that was that strafe. Starzer got off an entire strafe on majority of the opponents for like huge. It was absolutely huge for that fight. He had the positioning, he was in the back, and he got, you know, he was one of those survivors. He got so much damage done that round. That is something that True Team Fantasy actually has to fix, because if they can't take down that strafe and those targets, especially now with triple blood for blood, they are going to start losing members so very quickly.
Yeah, and that's a really scary point about being like somebody like a Diablo or like the Polymorph on Brightwing. You have to choose your targets very carefully, and if it's not on one of those strafes, you got to start questioning, why are we spending our crowd control on something else? And here comes Fabio going yet again in the middle. There's a really nice Divine Shield a little bit early though, and it looks like they're starting to do a lot of damage. Darkmock was in the back line, took a lot of damage. Crosby now going to go down, and it looks like Do Your Best sitting in a really good position. Darkmock really, really low in health. The boat going to go down really quickly, but Fear now under a lot of trouble because Blumby and the rest of the Vikings are chasing after her pretty quickly. But she looks like she's able to get out of here, and a really nice heal in from Skalarat's going to be able to keep her alive for just a little bit longer, and that's going to give them a really nice victory out of that team fight.
You know, I wasn't entirely too sure we were going to see victory from Do Your Best, because that Kerrigan engage just seems so sloppy. It's just she jumped in, she got the shield, and there's no one to combo upon. Like, she just didn't get it done. So I was curious to see how they were able to recover out of that, and they did recover very nicely. The Kerrigan took the big brunt of it. It was a big amount of focus that let, again, another good strafe to go through. But as soon as the strafe was done, they turned on the Vada, and unfortunately, that's really kind of where the train ended for True Team Fantasy, because by then so much damage had been done. Darkmock was basically out of that fight from the beginning, getting caught at the very start of it all, which is why we saw the split attention from Do Your Best. But at the same time, Do Your Best is still able to get another coin turn-in because of the donations from the Vikings, and now they're putting up more and more map control. They got those top bruisers going in. They cleaned up the bottom. Now they're coming bottom. I don't think they're going to be in time for these counter bruisers, but still, this is starting to look more and more like their game because they've reversed the level lead and they are the ones now ahead.
Still, though, we're seeing that mercenary camp advantage coming out here for Team True Fancy, and this is exactly what they need to emphasize. This is what I was saying in the very beginning. They need to realize their advantages, and it might not be those team fights, but it could be these mercenary camps. There's the bruiser camps now up in the top lane. They've got the bruiser camps only pushing in the bot lane, and that's going to get cleaned up. This is going to cause Team Do Your Best to constantly be rotating around. They've only got 7 coins, and this is going to allow Team True Fancy to start getting a lot of coins under their belt because of just that mercenary camp advantage.
Well, mercenary camps are still going to be the aim of the game. You got the counter bruisers now going down into the top. And speaking of, let's take a look at the boss. 45 seconds. So it's not really a big target as of yet. We've dunked in 13 coins and 7. And we got some big things coming out here. Do Your Best is going to be heading their way up here, but they're not going to be able to stop this. Can they actually pick up a kill? Are they going to dare invade this lane?
This is a little bit scary here. I mean, they know, both teams know exactly where they are, but this little point, this little choke point that Diviz just walked through, that could have been a huge place for a massive team fight, but it looks like Do Your Best, knowing that they're going to just back up, deal with these bruisers, and possibly just start fighting over not only the turn-in, but probably also the siege camps down bot lane as well. So yeah, looks like it's going to be a pretty big team fight coming on up. Can Do Your Best actually get the win here? Taking a lot of damage in the very beginning of this fight.
Yeah, but again, Fabio's going to go in. Here comes the Maelstrom and that Divine Shield. Again, she's in the back, though. There's no big combos, and the Apocalypse looks like it's good. Hits a bunch of the members here from Do Your Best. Jaina already taken out. Lumby going in, looking for that kill on top of Starzerk. The Viking boat is so good. They lose out the Sylvanas, but they trade it for the Vala, and now Bobik and Shellerat both going to be on the retreat here. And am I missing someone? 1, 2, who? Kerrigan is still alive in the back.
I was curious where she went. I saw an Ultralisk. I saw her kind of running around and actually changing targets. I was like, she has to still be alive. Where is she? But it looks like there's not really much of an advantage for her to get out of there. So she's going to go down as well. This is going to let our friends over here at Team True Fancy to get that final turn in. That's going to be a boss as well. And this is exactly where they need to start winning. A lot of damage was just done by just kind of kiting and just throwing things down. Crosby got a really nice baneling damage in on the enemy team as they were trying to engage, and I think that really just started to help them out. And then they just immediately eviscerated Fear, and that was really what let them win that whole entire fight pretty easily.
Yeah, I don't know why I said Maelstrom. I guess I just expected a Maelstrom to come out, but of course she has Ultralisk, so I'm not entirely sure what I was trying to get at. Do apologize for that, ladies and gentlemen, but still, I mean, she jumped in, and once again, like, everyone just splits. You saw it's almost like watching StarCraft all of a sudden. You see a Baneling and all the Marines go in different directions so they don't get balled up and destroyed. We've been seeing that now twice in a row here from the True Team Fancy. It's really defeating these engages from Kerrigan, and like, we throw out that shield even though she's not in danger of going down, and they're playing big tricks on Do Your Best. And because of that team fight, not only do they wrestle back map control, but they get the boss and level 20 before their opponents.
Yeah, level 20 really close here for their team Do Your Best, but I don't think it's going to be able to give them that much of an advantage here as the rest of Team True Fancy just move around the map, pick up a whole bunch of different things. The chests are now up. They pick up all these. They've got 16 coins. They've got a turn in already. They can get another 5 coins as well. And this is going to be another fight for the chests for the turn in, and that's going to be the scary point here. Level 20, level 20. Both these teams got it. A lot of bolts coming in here. We got a Storm Shield. We've got Hardened Shield. We've got the increased Bulwark of Light as well. So both these teams playing really interesting builds, and very excited to see this level 20 fight.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. No benediction? Or, well, that's a lie. That's benediction.
Redemption.
There's no redemption?
No redemption here, apparently.
Wow.
Well, you know, it's more of you want to win the team fight really quickly, and I think redemption is a very, very staggered way to win a team fight. But, oh my god, Stars are getting really nice strike, hitting 3 to 4 people at all times, doing a lot of damage, but the boat is still up. Here's the Emerald Wind. They're actually going to be able to take out Darmok really quickly. Crosby now, really low. There's the Ultralisk, just able to clean up so much damage. Bobik actually body blocked by the Ultralisk, trying to get in here. There's a nice Blood for Blood, and Ice Block going down here as well. Fabio waiting in the shadows, gonna go back in, gonna go down, and this actually looks like a massive victory here for Team Do Your Best. They did their best. They pick up the coins. They're sitting really fancy right now.
7-man wipeout. We don't have a word for that in Heroes except Team Ace, but
Septikill.
Septic mega kill is, I think, as far as we go up in a lot of this. But 20 to 21, I mean, we saw so many of those blinks being used out. The Bulwark, definitely a much better time that round. Fabio jumps in, he becomes the big target, and that was where the shield actually shined through. There was no tricks on that one. Do your best, just doing their best. As you say, back and forth, and Fabio is gonna drop to the core.
I don't know if they can do this. This is really close.
They can do it.
I don't know. They got Kerrigan coming up, or so they got Sylvanas coming up in 2 seconds. They're down. They don't have their healer. This is actually a little bit of an overcommit. Darkwalk now doing a lot of damage. Going to go straight on in. Fear going to go down. Bobik now going to be able to turn this around. This actually could potentially be a huge throw. That was their entire chance there to win this. They lost all their keeps. They've only got their core, and they just lost 3 people. They are actually probably not going to be able to survive this next push coming in here.
Actually, yeah, you're totally right. I did not realize that all the keeps were down. I knew that the top one was down and the bottom was being sieged, but this, you're right. That,
oh my god!
Could that actually be the reverse?
This is the reversal. Team Fancy, True Fancy, staying true to their name with a really nice comeback here. That was just so scary because Galarat was not there. The Maul going down, not being able to hit that much. They just need to survive this right now because they've got all these lines pushing. And this is so frustrating to see, but Skellerat trying to do as much as he can, but the core is gonna fall, and do your best is not going to go any further because Team True Fancy takes the game in a best of 1.
Congratulations, True Team Fancy. Yeah, no, you're right.